Is the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Montara Water and Sanitary District. Today's date is February 17th, 2022. It is 7:33. And Tracy, if we could have a roll call, please.
Okay. Director Floyd?
Here.
Director Decker?
Here.
Director Harvey?
Here.
Loman?
Here.
Director Slater is not present at this time.
We
Slater Carter.
anticipate Director Slater Carter will join us shortly, and we'll note that in the minutes when she does arrive. Okay, let's see. For President's statement, I'm just going to say we've had some beautiful weather, we've had some windy weather, we've had some cold weather, we've had some beautiful weather. You never know what we're going to get around here, but good, smart water use is always in season. So please keep it up. You're starting to see in the news how we're in the middle of a mega drought, one of the biggest that the West Coast has ever seen. So let's stay water-wise. This community is great, knows how to do it, but it does take constant mindfulness. And when it looks like things are easing up, just remember we don't know what's coming around the corner. So just keep doing the great job that we're doing, and together we'll get through this. Do we have any oral comments for items that are not on the agenda? I am not seeing any hands. Okay, I see a hand from Sid. Carlisle and Young.
I had to unmute again. I turned off the other music. I think I tried to log in on your live feed too, and I realized it was the wrong thing. Anyway, any chance you guys are looking into becoming a parks district?
That has not been on our agenda. We have not had any discussions about that.
What would it take?
That's an interesting question.
I mean, motivating.
I think I would answer that it would depend a lot on what the scope involved. And what I can tell you with certainty is that we have trails running over some of our property, and those trails are maintained and open by order of the Coastal Commission. So to some degree, we're already doing some things that provide public serving, kind of light recreational opportunities. And if other opportunities present and there's enough demand, I'm sure this board is always willing to discuss next steps to meet the public's needs. But in terms of actually doing anything to take organized steps in a direction that might involve any kind of organizational change or activating other powers, that's not been part of the discussion yet.
Okay, thanks. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. I'll tag this on. Certainly, there's an interest in doing more for the community, and each of us who lives here knows that there's a rich set of resources here that it would be great if we had some kind of local management of resources to be of more service to the community. And we have often shown a willingness and readiness to look into additional things, but for the moment, that's kind of where we are. Let's see. Any further public comment? I'm not seeing hands. Let's move on then to the only item of business on tonight's agenda. New business item 1, review and possible action concerning mid-year budget review.
Thanks, Scott. We do this now every year. We review mid-year how we're doing. And for me, this is really the start of the budgeting season. So before I hand this to Peter, who prepared this report and who's going to present this tonight, I want to say that I'm looking forward to working with Peter Decker and Jim Harvey in the coming months on the budget. Yeah, Peter Medina, if you can present this item and let us know what variances you see.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Yes, as Clement said, we are barreling toward fiscal year end. It always catches me off guard. Just these years just go by so fast. But February we start to look. This presentation, basically the mid-year budget review, comes in very quickly after the fiscal year end budget versus actual, just because of the audit process going until October, November, December, in times. Preparing that report, we usually wait for the auditors to give us their unqualified audit opinion, and then we prepare the fiscal year end, and then right afterward we go up mid-year budget, and it's kind of always just like, all right, well, 6 months has passed of operations. So in capturing what we've talked about in the finance committee, we're typically about a month behind as it comes to revenues and expenditures. Mainly on the expenditure side is because of the check clearing process, the warrants going. Invoices coming in, warrants being prepared, and then the signatures. So there's a lag there. And then by the time we capture the activities, so we're about a month behind. So it creates a little bit of a dilemma when we're preparing the budget to know that we have to capture an extra month, because I said we usually look. That's why sometimes the budget versus actual, we're looking better than I think I know we are. So that's the challenge. But what we have in front of us, I said, we're capturing 6 months worth of activity. And as you guys have seen in the review, it's pretty good in terms of when I look down, I'm really looking to see how close are we to 50% within 2 or 3 percentage points, and going down revenue side, yes, we're high, but it's usually for a smaller dollar or smaller budgeted amounts. I say the fees. Okay, yeah, 220%. Okay, yes, it looks high, but it said it's only 15K over budget, and the mainly has to do with fees collected for mainline extension fees for both sewer and water. Those have been something that's been relatively new. We haven't seen that in the past, so that part is high. Property tax, 97%. What the piece there is basically ERAF, because as we were talking about a little bit before the meeting, so property tax comes in throughout the year. There are some months which we have larger distributions from the county. So we received a large one in December. But really what we see there is ERAF. ERAF, hold on, I have my notes here, came out to be $267,000. So once again, in the finance committee, we've gone a couple different ways. More and more in the past, or in the recent years, we've been trying to capture more of that income in the budget process. But for a long time, we've been really, not budgeting for that revenue, because we were never sure what was going to come in and if it was ever going to go away. So it's been relatively consistent over the past 5 plus years. So we've been capturing it. So that's the big piece there that you'll see for revenue, and on both sewer and water expenditures. Okay, well, I'll start with sewer. The professional services, that has to do with continued litigation. I shouldn't say continued, but in the past, for the first half of the fiscal year, that piece we didn't feel comfortable budgeting for during the budget process last year. So we did not capture it in the litigation line item. So we increased a larger legal amount, but not litigation. So we were more or less expecting to see it over budget, but we did not want to capture that in the budget so at that point, we just weren't sure how this was going to shake out. So that's the big part there for sewer. Other than that, the other large piece is facilities. It's just there was some dry rot fixed throughout the year, as well as telephone and internet costs have been higher than expected. That goes for both sewer and water. Other than that, like I said, going through, it's been, relatively speaking, well, the big piece, the CIP program, lagging behind expectations. So, thank you, Clemens. So you can see, follow along. I should have had that pulled up on mine, but my remote desktop, so not as easy. So thank you, Clemens. What you'll see here. So what we covered so far, fees, and then property tax, and then sewer service charges, 50%. So the big piece here is at CIP, we're just behind schedule, so 22%. Clemens, can you roll down to water, please? Okay, so the big thing that you'll see here is, actually doesn't make itself very apparent. You'll see it on the year-by-year comparison, but the cell tower lease, that's all now been shifted to the sewer fund, where it used to be budgeted 50-50 between sewer and water. Now it's 100% sewer. Clemens learned this during the budget process last year, and we've been accounting for it this way. Clemens would be better at explaining why than I'll even try to do. But okay, so now on the expenditure side, yes, the other piece here, treatment, chemical expenses, as well as treatment testing costs have been above normal. Not quite sure why, but Clemens can probably speak to that. And then once again, CIP below average.
Peter, there is a line missing in this statement. It should be a line that says total cash flow provided by all activities.
You're right. Last. Okay. Thank you. Make a note of that. Okay. Thanks, Peter. Okay. Scroll down. We'll go to the year by year. So this one's kind of neat. This is basically the first half of the year compared with last year's first half of the year. What you'll see here, the big shift here, sewer service charges. Last year, we were kind of late to figure out what was going on with the water reliability charges. And that's when we finally figured out that we weren't going to get a water reliability specific charge that came in from the county. You guys don't readily see the county remittance advices, but when they do come in, Montara has specific codes that are attached to it, and each remittance will say what it is, as well as the code. We have 3 codes. We have the long-term debt, we have sewer service charges, and then we have just general property tax. What we found out was that with the water liability charges, there was not a specific or a specific, or yes, a specified or specific code that was created as being new. They lumped it into sewer service charges. So when we thought sewer service charges, it took about half a year because it said, okay, well, this didn't make sense because by midway through the year, we had collected all of our expected revenue for sewer service charges when we knew that there were going to be more receipts coming. So talking with the county, figuring out, okay, what that breakout was, we started allocating. So now we do that on a consistent basis as opposed to just twice last year. So that's the big shift here, that 423. Other than that, though, you'll see the professional services have gone up quite a bit for various reasons. Our consulting and legal have been the largest increases there. Okay, and so, yeah, that's about all I wanted to see here. Clement, can you move on to water, please? So here, this one shows the cell tower lease, $14K last year to 0. So they're all going over to the sewer fund now. And here, yes, and just as you guys, major driver being payroll. keeping those costs. And so we anticipate for the increases. We've been short-staffed at various points through the current fiscal year. I think that's really the big reason why we don't see a bigger increase here, even though we have both merit increases as well as COLA. So, you just don't see a very large jump here when in personnel costs. And then after here, we basically going through the full GL and you can see the individual accounts, but I think these 4 pages provide enough interesting data to kind of take a look at. So any specific question on any specific accounts or anything I went over here, please let me have them.
I think Sid has a question.
I have my hand raised.
Okay, Sid.
Could you go back to the sewer one that you had the page before?
This one?
Yeah, I was just looking to see where the legal fees are on that one for the Sam lawsuit. Don't you list that?
They are not specified. They are rolled up into professional services.
Okay.
Okay. So if you go down, if you go in your agenda and you go to page 5, you will see there in GL codes 5430 and 5440. You will see those 2 items
Broken out into whatever other legal services they provided.
Well, 5430 and 5440. 5430 is general legal, and then 5440 is litigation.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Comments or discussion from the board?
No.
Let me know. I don't know when Catherine came in, but let's note at 7:50, Catherine is here.
Thank you.
We always have a board question or two.
Well, not always. Sometimes I like to, be as non-concise as possible. And we have a good team. I've said this before. I don't want to go on. So we have a really good team. The finance committee said the real fun begins over these next few months, where we'll really be taking a deep dive. And thanks to the efforts of Director Decker, he keeps different reports that I don't even keep. And so when we compare our 2 notes, we can really get some terrific data to help us be as clear. I said the budget process. I always marvel at it just because I said it's so early when we start developing these numbers, and then as we go through, it seems to work out that way, and it just always blows my mind just because I said so much time passes by. So I think it's just a credit to the committee and management as well as Tracy and Sonia.
Well, thank you for that.
I just want to
feedback.
add,
That's
Peter
good.
has been the driver in all of this, so I really thank him for that. That his work with Clemens has been outstanding.
Well, it's helpful and a comfort to see the presentation and see where we are, and that we're tracking pretty much normal, and where there's variance, we have some good idea where it's coming from. That's minding the store, and I appreciate that. Okay, if I don't see any hands or hear any questions, let's then go to reports. Let's go to Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side. Catherine or Rick?
We had a finance committee meeting today. Hello again, Peter. And the topic there was the audits and auditors and the schedule on which we need to change auditors and possibly auditing companies, and we still need some more information. But I was impressed that George and Peter and Keishan all wanted to continue on the path of looking for, and Peter, help me again, review of our finances. It used to be called something and they changed it to CRAs.
Yes. So it's always been known as a comprehensive annual financial report. They've kept those words, just jumbled the order. So now it's an ACFR. So yeah, that was the big push that we had last year. So yeah, we would like to continue that process. But yes, yeah, the auditor discussion is always kind of an interesting one because yeah, there are pros, cons, and some of the pros may sound like cons and some of the cons may sound like pros. So it's an interesting matter when we talk about the annual audit. But I said, because Montara has one as well, but we pay for independence and that's what we're looking for. But just the way that the regulations have been worded, holding on to the same auditor for multiple years is no longer allowable by state law. Montara has been fine. We used to have Mr. AJ Majors for a number of years, and then now we have another gentleman within the same firm, which was purchased 3 years ago. So now I Bailey, formerly VTD. So we are Sam. Well, sorry, if you don't mind me speaking, but Sam's at that point where we're at the 6 years. So we are looking into what's next. So.
And I'll keep you posted, but I have asked the SAM Financial Committee and management and Peter, I'd like to get a process for the RFP for a new audit firm or new auditors, and get a process in place that we can sort of keep on file so future boards and future management won't have to improvise every few years when we need to change auditors and auditing firms. At the last SAM board, which was earlier this week, sorry, that's my dog. It was, excuse me. Stop. Stop. He's guarding me from the bear coming in. The meeting was brief. And unlike the December 24th meeting, extraordinarily polite. And we had 3 agenda items. The first 2 were buying pumps for various uses, and that flew through smoothly. And then we were talking about the non-domestic waste source control, firing up the non-domestic waste source control program, and that went very smoothly and quickly as well. So the meeting ended quickly, and the non-domestic waste control program, we now have a consultant to help us fire it up who is very aware of what it will take and has worked in this area for a long time and has experience with the with the kinds of businesses that constitute the majority of our non-domestic waste source producers. So it was all well and good, and we shall see what happens at the next one. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Nothing further on SAM. Let's go to the Midcoast Community Council. I don't see Greg with us. Does anyone have anything to relay about the Midcoast Community Council?
Sorry.
If not, okay. If not, then how about the California Special Districts Association or LAFCO? Both of those are up, Rick. Okay.
Haven't had the LAFCO meeting. We have a legislative committee meeting next week. It's a little subcommittee. Rob sent out Rob Bertoli saying we've got so much to do in LAFCO that he scheduled the next 2 months in concession. So we've got a meeting in April, May, and June to deal with all of that. I've received no emails from the Special Districts Association, so I don't know what's happening there. So
okay,
that's it.
All right. Well, yeah. I'm sorry. Did someone say something? No.
Nope.
Okay. Let's see. Attorney's report.
I have nothing to report.
Director's report. I don't think we can really fail to note, perhaps this should have been in the president's statement, but the matter of Half Moon Bay suing Granada and Montara, the court's ruling was made final last week, I believe it was. Pretty much unchanged from the preliminary, and I think, you know, we were pretty confident in our position, and the court directly affirmed our position, and leaving it so that the basic arrangement for paying for what it takes to keep the intertie pipeline system operational is borne by all three agencies in the way that it has been for over 4 decades. I see a hand from Sid Carlisle.
Well, as a ratepayer, you may not be able to answer this now, but I would certainly like to see Montara and probably El Granada too, even though I'm not a ratepayer there, recover some of their costs from what I consider a pretty, I don't know the word, but it didn't seem like they needed to file that lawsuit. It's frivolous, that's the word I was trying to come up with. The older you get, the more you can't think of your words. But I don't know if you can talk about that, but hopefully you're thinking about it.
What I can say is I think we all appreciate your input.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and I want to, take a moment to say that, it's not just on the finances that we have a great team, but we've got a really great team that helped us through this difficult time, and I want to give a special shout out to Christine. This has been a really challenging, very large, complicated piece of work. And Christine has done a great job of helping assemble, divide through it, take it all down to the pieces, and put it all back together into a constructive argument that was presented to the court in a way that the court said quite directly that the court concurred with Montara's position, and that position, the words for that were led by Christine, and it's great when it looks really simple to say, but the amount of work it took to get to being able to say things and know with a certainty that what was being said was right and well presented. That's a lot of work, and so I don't think I'm the only one here, but you have our heartfelt thank you, Christine.
Yes.
Thank you, President Boyd. Director Harvey, appreciate it. It's my pleasure.
And there were a lot of people involved in the team, and you really helped rally that and keep everybody focused with this board. That's saying something. I see that grin, so I'm not wrong. Okay. Let's go to General Manager's report.
No report today. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We are going to take a brief recess and then reconvene in closed session. We're going to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items on the closed session agenda. One is about the lawsuit. One is significant exposure to litigation. Another is anticipated litigation and possible initiation of litigation. One is existing litigation, Montara Water and Sanitary District versus the Dow Chemical Company. And one is a conference with real property negotiators regarding the property 771 Rivera Road here in Montara, with the agency negotiator being the district general manager and the district general counsel negotiating with Coast Wholesale Florists. And this is a negotiation on price and terms of payment. And then following that, we have public employee performance evaluation and conference with labor negotiators on the unrepresented employee, the general manager. I'd like to thank the members of the public for tuning in, for contributing. Thank you for being here, Sid. And thank you all for coming. We are in recess until 10 after 8.
Can I ask Clemens my question?
If he hangs around during recess.
Can I, during recess, can I ask him the question that I was started before your meeting started?
Not by me, but
go for it.
Let's
okay.